Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we're going to be playing Gouki. Now Gouki is a deck that's a lot of fun. It is an aggressive, strong board spam type deck, but it goes very tall. So you are able to summon negates, summon uh, disruption for your opponent. You're able to make their monsters significantly weaker with your Great Ogre, while also drawing through your entire deck. The skill that we're playing is the Legend of Heroes. If you have a Link 3 or higher monster, you can increase your life points by 2,000. That is fantastic for Goukis. Goukis are a deck that is built to survive and to get multiple resources. So as long as you don't get OTK'd, you will win the game. Almost always, because you simply draw way more cards than your opponent does. So the extra 2,000 life points is very useful for Goukis. For the main deck, each Gouki monster has a hard once per turn effect where it can, if it's sent to the graveyard, draw another Gouki card from your deck to your hand. And you get to choose whichever card you want. This is amazing. It allows you to extend over and over and over again. And because of that, we have built the deck specifically so that we have one of every one of the not important Goukis, so that we can just pick the ones that we haven't used yet and use them as material to keep going and keep getting draws. Super X is our star. When it's normal summon, you can special summon one Gouki monster from your hand. This is not a hard once per turn effect, so you can use this effect multiple times if you can get multiple normal summons, and you can. Rai Scorpio can be normal summoned without tribute if you only control Gouki monsters or have no monsters. It's alright. Twist Cobra, you can tribute a Gouki monster as a quick effect, target a Gouki monster you control, and it gains attack equal to the original attack of the tributed monster until the end of the turn. This is very useful for getting OTKs. Bear Hug. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Gouki card or is normal summoned, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and its attack becomes half its original attack at the end of the turn. We will mostly summon this off of either Super X's effect or by discarding it with Headbat and then reviving it with Rematch. Speaking of Headbat, if this card is in your hand, you can send one other Gouki monster from your hand to the graveyard and then target one Gouki monster you control. Special summon this card in defense position, and if you do, the targeted monster gains 800 attack until the end of the turn. This is our excellent second extender after we normal summon Gouki Super X. Super X is our starter, Headbat is our way to keep going, and after that we just keep link summoning. Iron Claw. During the damage step, when your Gouki monster battles an opponent's monster, as a quick effect you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Until the end of the turn, your monster gains 500 attack points, and if it does, it is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. Just unaffected. That's amazing. It's only during the damage step, so your opponent will probably have activated any sort of traps that would inhibit your monster. But if they have a damage step effect, or if they have like an effect that triggers, like for example, Gaia Plate the Earth Giant, which has an effect where it halves the attack of any monster it battles, it will not affect it. So there you go. That's a good option. Octo Stretch, this is a hand trap. If you take damage, you take half damage instead. It's okay. It's a searchable hand trap, so that's pretty nice. World Legacy Succession, this is basically Monster Reborn, but it's not limited one. Really good. Gouki Rematch, this is Monster Reborn times 2. Yeah, we only get to run one copy of it, but that's all we need. It's a fantastic card. You will use this to get your Link 4 out really easily. Reinforcement the Army, it's a 4th Super X. Fantastic. Book of Moon and 3 Crackdowns, just trying to keep yourself alive. Gouki Finishing Move. Target one Gouki Link monster you control. It gains attack equal to its Link rating times 1,000 until the end of the turn, and it gains Piercing. For the rest of the turn, you cannot attack with monsters except Gouki monsters. One finishing move per turn. This is great. This is how we win. And lastly, we have Expendable Die. Tribute one warrior monster on the field, target one card on the field and destroy it, and if you do, draw a card. So you tribute one of your Gouki monsters, you destroy one of your opponent's cards, you draw a card, and you search with the Gouki effect. So that's extremely good. Fantastic card. It should be played probably at 3, but I only have 1. For the X deck, we have Nightmare Unicorn and Nightmare Phoenix. You've seen those cards before. Gouki Thunder Ogre, this requires 2 or more Gouki monsters. If a monster this card points to is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can make this card gain 400 attack points. The turn player applies this effect while its monster is on the field. During the main phase, they can normal summon one monster from their hand to the zone this card points to, in addition to their normal summoner set. So you make Gouki Thunder Ogre, you summon Super X for the second time, you get an additional special summon from your hand, and then you pop off. And you go into this. Gouki the Master Ogre requires 2 or more Gouki monsters. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you get to return to the hand any number of Gouki monsters you control this card points to. They don't have to be face up, so if your opponent Book of Moons, it doesn't turn this off. Then target the same number of face up cards your opponent controls. They have their effects negated until the end of this turn. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. If your opponent controls a face up monster, this card can only target their monster with the highest attack for your attacks. It can attack every monster your opponent controls, but it has to fight the strongest monster first. So this is a great card. You just put finishing move on it, it'll beat anything, and then it will also negate any cards if you go first. Gouki the Great Ogre requires 2 or more Gouki monsters. All monsters on the field lose attack equal to their original defense. All Gouki monsters in the main deck have 0 defense, by the way. If this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy 1 monster this card points to instead, and that is not a once per turn. So you just get to protect your monsters over and over again. It's a good card. It will allow you to beat over powerful monsters, like, for example, Malefic monsters that have 4,000 attack and 4,000 defense. Lastly, we have Jet Ogre. It requires 2 Gouki monsters. Once per turn, you can target 1 Gouki card you control, destroy it, and if you do, change all monsters on the field to attack position. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can make all Gouki monsters you currently control gain 500 attack until the end of the turn, hard once per turn. So, Jet Ogre is a good card. It is basically our only Link 2 that we want to use, and we will use 3 copies of it because we need this card to keep extending. It's important to note that every Gouki card that's in the extra deck requires only Gouki monsters. So while we do have Nightmare Phoenix and Nightmare Unicorn, we can't extend off of those into Gouki monsters because they're not Goukis themselves. So you should only use Nightmare Unicorn and Nightmare Phoenix when you absolutely need them. Otherwise, just keep playing Goukis. Okay, let's take a look at the replay. Alright, so we are going first, and our hand contains 2 copies of Gouki Super X, 1 Twist Cobra, and an expendable die. This is fantastic. First, we're going to normal summon our Super X, we special summon our Gouki Twist Cobra, and we link these 2 off into our Gouki Jet Ogre. Then we get to draw 2 cards. We are going to draw a Headbat and a card that we can use to discard with Headbat. Headbat and Rise Scorpio. Headbat, discard Rise Scorpio, special summon it, and then we link those 2 off into our Thunder Ogre. And then we will use Headbat's effect to search a Gouki monster that we have not played yet, so we can get more extension. Grab the Bear Hug. Normal summon the Super X to the zone that Thunder Ogre points to. Super X effect, special summon Bear Hug. Link the Bear Hug and the Super X together to summon Gouki the Master Ogre. Bear Hug effect, draw rematch, activate rematch, special summon 2 monsters, and we're going to special summon our Twist Cobra to the zone that the Master Ogre does not point to. Now, we set our expendable die. Oh, we also activate our skill. Okay, so here's what we got for our turn 1. We gain 2,000 life points. We are much harder to kill. We have our Gouki the Master Ogre, which can at any point make 2 cards on the field useless. We also have Twist Cobra, which can sacrifice itself to give our Gouki the Master Ogre 1,600 extra attack points. And finally, we have Expendable Die, which allows us to tribute 1 monster to draw a card and pop a card on the opponent's field. And if any of these monsters gets destroyed, we can draw Gouki Octo Stretch to keep ourselves from taking full damage. Again, we have 6,000 life points. Let's see what our opponent does. Our opponent is going to normal summon Magical Musketeer Caspar, and then they are going to activate Magical Musket Desperado from their hand. This will allow them to destroy one of our cards, and it will also allow them to search any Magical Musket card from their hand. So we will chain this. We take 200 damage from chain reaction. Master Ogre effect, we are going to return both Super X and Bear Hug to our hand. We are going to negate Caspar and Desperado. So not only does our monster not get destroyed, but Caspar does not get to search. This also prevents Caspar's effect that says that you can activate spells and traps from the hand. So while he could activate any spell card he wanted to, he could not activate another trap card, like, for example, the Dancing Needle. Our opponent chooses to end their turn. During the end phase, we will activate Expendable Die. We will tribute our Twist Cobra to destroy Caspar. By doing so, our opponent no longer has the ability to activate any spells or trap during our turn either. So that's essentially killed their board since they don't have any cards set face down. And our opponent immediately surrenders. There you go. So this is how you can build a powerful board with a lot of defensive tools and also negate and disrupt your opponent over and over again. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have you all with me.